Hello. Bonjour tout le monde. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Wine with Jimmy channel. Delighted to have you on board. Wine educational channel that really delivers lots of sessions to help those of you studying the world of wine. So here in this video, we are looking at the wines of the world. That's the D3 section for the WSET level 4. That's the diploma. And we're going to be focusing on the southwest of France, and it's series 4 here on the wonderful Jurançon. And we are looking at part 1 of 3 here: introduction, history, grape growing, and environment. This is a free video, but parts 2 and 3 are only available on my e-learning portal. That's over at www.winewithjimmy.com. Loads of exclusive video content there, and of course helpful resources to get you through your revision to really give you confidence for your examinations. That's what I am here for, hopefully. So yes, please do get in touch. Any comments or questions, please pop them in the comments section below this video. Make sure you like the video and you subscribe for weekly updates. You can see social media also at the bottom of every slide. So we are looking at Jurançon. I'm a big fan of the wines of Jurançon. This is a region in the foothills of the Pyrenees. And to my best abilities, I have put lots of these brown triangles to emulate the Pyrenees, of course. You didn't think anything different out there, did you? At an altitude, you'll see here this purple area goes up to 300-400 meters. So some good altitude here in the southern of the Bern area. Okay, on the similar latitude to Erlugi, that's in the Basque country, but we're across inland a little bit more in this zone. Now, we produce dry and medium sweet to very sweet wines here from the white varieties of the Mansengs. So Petit Manseng, Gros Manseng. There are many other varieties here as well, things like Corbu, Petit Corbu, and so on. But we are just talking about the Mansengs in terms of the importance for your diploma. So yeah, there's a picture of the grapes just there. We're going to go through the Mansengs in great detail on video 2. So on this one, though, we're going to talk a little bit about the introduction, and we're going to go start into the climate and things like that. So the region produces about 70% of medium sweet or sweet wine, and therefore 30% of dry. So in this red box here, where you see Domaine Corrapé, the Jurançon, and then you've got Clos-Quirous, I think, which says Vendange Tardive. These are expressions of the sweet style. Left-hand one, typically medium sweet, the right-hand label sweet, and accounting in total for about 70% of the production. Then on the left-hand side, the very wonderful Domaine de Souche. This is the Jurançon sec, and sec dry accounts for about 30%, as we mentioned. The one on the far right-hand side, that's Jurançon Vendange Tardive, typically has intense aromas and flavors of lemon, mango, passion fruit, grapefruit, high acidity, and alcohol between the top end of medium and high, with often full-bodied characteristics. Jurançon, the middle label of your slide, is a medium sweet wine, typically good to very good, and is inexpensive to mid-price. Then on the left-hand side, we have Jurançon sec, which can be a range of styles. They typically, of course, are dry. These are normally around mid-priced, and they are often good to very good in quality. So let's look at the climate and weather of this area, because you'll see we've got some dry wines, but a propensity to make lower sugar sweet wines, medium sweets, not exceptionally sweets. A lot of them are made as just the middle label, as you'll see there on that picture. So why is this? Well, Jurançon has a mild and humid climate with a lot of rain, about 1,200 millimeters of rain, which is in fact distributed here more frequently throughout the year in comparison to Madaran that we were talking about in the last series, which actually has more seasonality to its rainfall in winter. And that rainfall can cause problems, of course, around flowering. It's good for the growth of the vine initially, but flowering is a problem, fruit set, and then specifically around the period of harvest. The topography here, so vineyards are planted on slopes, which are exceptionally useful at the foothills of the Pyrenees for very good drainage. And that offsets some of those issues with rainfall that is spread throughout the year. Some of those slopes are in fact so steep with their gradient that in fact there are terraces cut into the landscape, and that is a cost that increases initial investment and maintenance, but of course you get better quality from those sites. The very best sites are facing south and the southwest for maximum sunlight interception. So you'll often find these slopes are facing the Pyrenees, and you'll see there in the background the Pyrenees, and this slope is facing south, as you can see. We talked about this a little bit with your Madaran section, and it's applicable here as well. So these warm, sunny summers and dry autumns with warm days and cool nights are aided by this hot, dry, southern foehn wind that enables grapes to ripen quite well. The hot and dry wind blows spring and autumn about 1 day in 3. It dries the air and ventilates the canopy. It can boost the temperature in this area too. The heat and wind helps to produce overripe berries for sweet wines. It creates desiccation of the grapes, which enables that drying to happen. The geology here is typically sedimentary, so we have limestone, sand and clays, often a lot of the finest wines on higher amounts of limestone. Clay, of course, is very water retentive. And due to the altitude, which is sneaking up a little bit here, there is actually a risk from spring frosts. So the budding zone for vines are trained higher, well above the ground, to mitigate any issues with ground frosts, as you can see in the picture. Harvesting here. So grapes are picked by hand, and for the sweet wines in a series of selective passings, so tri process, and this of course increases the cost. The first selection is in October, and this is typically for our dry wine styles, although some will be for some of the lighter sweet expressions. And then your second and third selections will be in November, and yes, as late as December, using these later pickings for progressively sweeter styles, of course. The last two selections are carried out of the overripe grapes, which have been dried on the vine. This is passerillage, as you can see just here. Lots of different forms of passerillage, but generally this is where the vine is stopping being fed water and it's over ripening on the vine. So the grape is stopped being fed water. And sometimes they do this by actually snapping the stem a little bit to stop the flow of water. And then the grapes start to desiccate and dry out, as you can see here. But generally, this will start to happen anyway with prolonged time on the vine. So you won't necessarily need to do this. It's only done in places where they need to speed up that process. So it'll be done by that prolonged time on the vine, the autumn sunshine, and of course the wind effect from the foehn that we talked about previously. Low yields raise the intensity of the fruit and increase the production costs of such wine. So they are quite pricey, but very good value in comparison to botrytized wines, which are famously known in places like Bordeaux, for example. So well worth looking out. In fact, for those of you that work in the trade, Jurançon is a brilliant wine to put on by the glass. Not the sweetest ones, but just a generic Jurançon, because they will satisfy the needs of somebody who wants some sugar in wine, but also those people that are not too sure about whether they like sweetness in wine. This will only be a little bit, and it's often very much countered by high levels of acidity, which make them quite pleasurable pretty much for everybody. Most people like a sort of a semi-sweet Jurançon. Haven't found many people that haven't. And think about things like grapefruit, passion fruit, mango. Those kind of notes come through quite extensively. So that brings me to the end of this first video. Part 2 is looking at the key grape varieties of Petit and Gros Manseng. Please do join me for that. It is only going to be available on my e-learning portal. That's www.winewithjimmy.com, as with part 3, of course. So please go over there, have a look, and sign up for all of the exclusive content and extra resources to help you with your wine studies. And once again, any comments or questions on this video, you can pop it below in the comments section. Make sure you click like and subscribe. And if you do find yourself in the United Kingdom, then come and see me at one of my establishments for a class, of course, a glass, probably more likely a bottle. I've been Jimmy Smith. Ciao for now. Bye-bye.